Hello, World Wide Web. I'm Dr. Shado, the internet personality with the best hair. And it's week 4 of the Summer of Steven Seagal! Week 4. It means I'm at most halfway through. I was really hoping that the Summer of Seagal would be a little more, varied. Oh, he's technically played different roles in different situations, but they all follow a very straightforward Seagal pattern. Hell, I think if I found a movie where he was a fast food employee, it would say he was the best fast food employee in the world, and he would single-handedly defeat an army of cyber ninjas using the skills he learned flipping burgers in Japan. And after Driven to Kill, Hard to Kill, and Out for a Kill, I'm hoping for at least some change of pace in today's movie, Kill Switch. Yeah, wish in one hand and shit in the other. So what's the premise, you ask? Seagal plays Jacob King, who just so happens to be the most celebrated homicide detective in the country. He's caught up investigating a string of murders from one serial killer, while also dealing with the actions of another serial killer set free by those useless federal agents and their stupid due process. So let's just leave it at that and be on our way. Fine. Let's take a look at Kill Switch and see if the same actor doing the same role, again, is somehow different. The movie opens up to a creepily depicted children's birthday party where the kids decide to play hide and seek out in the big scary forest seconds before they're supposed to cut the cake. But as with near every opening scene in every movie ever made, something just so happens to go wrong.
Daniel! Daniel, baby!
Yeah, Jacob's twin brother Daniel really sucks at hide and seek. But all of this was just a memory, trapped in the mind of Jacob King, or as I'm likely going to refer to him as for the rest of this movie, Steven Seagal. Fast forward to today, and we see him charged with dealing with a woman who's been quite literally booby-trapped.
Help me!
No, he's not with the bomb squad, he's with Homicide. Don't worry though, she'll be okay, he's Seagal.
It's not like him to leave out in the open like this.
Nah, he flipping the MO, man. He trying to fuck with our heads.
Boudreaux? Well, why the fuck is Seagal using this bad attempt at a southern Louisianian accent, especially considering this movie is supposed to take place in Memphis, Tennessee? He does detect that the killer, or potential killer, must be nearby, and that's enough for him to easily pick out the right building and apartment first try.
The difference between you and me is, you love to prey on the weak and innocent, but I like to prey on sick people like you.
Oh, so Seagal goes around in this movie strapping C4 to the terminally ill? Maybe this will get interesting after all. But first, he's got to beat the information out of the man in this shoddily edited smackdown with jump cuts galore.
Listen to me. Which colored wire do I cut?
Yeah, the colored wires crap. But you know what's really great about this scene? This is the only time this character actually makes a bomb, let alone one wired into the victim. Everyone else he kills, he just stabs to death. So, hey, want to know what to cut? How about cut the bullshit? A little more seizure battling to loosen his tongue, during which time they narrow it down to yellow or black, and the information is pried from him.
Cut the black one. Put the yellow one.
Really? Yes, Seagal just knew it would be the opposite of what the suspect said, saving the girl, the technician, and his stupid partner that just stood there next to the bomb for no apparent reason. Well, I guess there's nothing left to do but arrest him, right? Okay, I get it. Can he hit the ground yet? He's been kicked through the window like 10 times.
Hell no, Storm. I think I dropped something. You see anything on the street down there?
Your career? I mean, it was there on the street, but now it's kind of gone down the drain. After learning the sad, sad news that the man he beat half to death and chucked out a window is going to get an appeal of all things, Seagal heads home to introduce the audience to his wife, Celine, played by Karen Michelle Baltzer.
I was in your office earlier. It's kind of creepy.
Oh, trust me, lady, you don't know creepy.
In homicide, we sometimes have creepy guys we gotta work, and This particular guy is kind of creepy.
Really? I've never been accused of anything that would necessitate the involvement of a homicide detective. Well, he sticks to homicide just as well as the guys on CSI stick to investigate. Hey, wait a minute, what the hell are you doing here? What? I heard my name said in a soft, manly voice, and I just assumed you finally cracked. No, that was the movie. You mean to tell me you got a thing for Steven Seagal? Seagal? No, I always found his mouth is too small for his face. It's like a teen girl with a fat Italian man's face trying to gurn blue steel. Right. Anyway, don't just think you can come in here and hijack my review. Are you kidding me? You're reviewing a Steven Seagal movie. I'm leaving of my own accord. That was new. Anyway, this scene establishes she exists, and therefore is most likely going to die sometime later. Wives seem to have a surprisingly low survival rate in Seagal movies. What, does he have something against women? On that note, we see a prostitute regret buying her hooker boots at Walmart, and therefore, she must rush down the nearest dark alley as soon as possible. Here she finds a random guy with a baby, so she offers to help despite there being no apparent crisis.
No problem. Been through this drill before.
I can tell. You made no attempt to dodge or move at all, even when it was obvious it was just a shitty recording. After he beats her some more, we're transported to his house where he works on her corpse during naked time while rambling on and on.
But I have heard the truth. I've seen the peaks. I've seen the valleys. I've seen the land all around this world. And I've seen the light.
Yeah, I get that rambling Christian-esque things might be creepy to some, but there are a lot weirder things you could have chosen to recite. Ezekiel chapter 4 verses 12 and 13. And thou shalt eat it as barley cakes, and thou shalt bake it with the dung that cometh out of man in their sight. And the Lord said, Even thus shall the children of Israel eat their defiled bread among the Gentiles, whither I will drive them. Suddenly the body is teleported to the morgue with... what the?
What else you got, Ice?
Cause of death was a result of massive blood force trauma.
Isaac Hayes? What the hell are you doing here? Seriously, this movie came out in October of 2008. He died in August of 2008. And yes, it does look like they threw this movie together in less than 2 months. While he may be the coroner, that doesn't matter. Seagal is here, so he makes the discovery of a symbol carved into the victim.
See now, look at that. This is the astrological symbol for the full moon.
Actually, that's the astrological symbol for the opposition aspect. In fact, I can't seem to find anything in astrology on symbols relating to the specific phases of the moon. But he's Seagal, so that's automatically right. Nevertheless, he heads down to the local bar to ask one of the prostitute's customers a couple questions. However, the man isn't so keen on talking.
I got some questions about Jessica Trimble. Either I'm gonna arrest you and take you downtown, or you're gonna talk to me now.
Really, guys? Not even going to get into exactly what those questions are? Just gonna start fighting? Okay. So we get another epileptic fight scene, as soon the rest of the patrons join in to try to beat up Seagal's stunt double because, you know, that random guy who used to fuck the hooker gotta defend his honor, man. Since he's got a stunt double for 90% of this scene, obviously that means they will be hurt. But fortunately, with a few shots of Seagal's face we do see, we can tell that he doesn't feel a thing. After he's done beating the shit out of everybody, he returns to Leon and...
Now, let me ask you something. Good.
Congratulations! You just confirmed that this man had absolutely nothing to do with the murder! Quick question while I'm at it. Have you ever heard of police brutality? It's not exactly smiled upon. So he loses some teeth and Seagal leaves, victorious, but oh no, despite the blood disappearing and his teeth growing back instantly, he is far from done with the police officer and is fortunately joined by 2 other guys across the street for backup. This man is just some dude who occasionally fucks hookers. Why is it every 5 feet there's another guy willing to lay down their life against the police in his name? This flanking attack makes no difference though, as Seagal still holds off shooters from both directions single-handedly, taking a couple down in this completely unnecessary battle. Well, just when you think things can't get any worse, the fucking Unabomber shows up. But it's time to have the FBI come in to start fucking with this half-assed excuse for an investigation, introducing us to Frankie Miller, played by Holly Elisa.
I've been assigned to look into the grifter case.
Grifter. Damn the press and their nicknames.
Who the fuck came up with the nickname Grifter? He beats women to death, ritualistically poses their bodies, and carves symbols into their flesh. A grifter is a con artist. Where's the connection? Now, 25 minutes in, they bother to mention there's letters he leaves in some unknown code on the bodies, too. So, still not a con man, but never mind all this exposition. It's time to see the grifter at work.
Where's your boyfriend?
Sneaking up behind a rapist to strangle him to death. I can see how his incredible charisma helped him in that deception. We move on to the crime scene so we can watch Seagal laugh at the useless FBI agent.
Well, I'm not here to get in the way, mostly observe, possibly offer some of my own expertise.
I'd love some of your expertise, because I can see at your age, you probably got a lot more expertise than we do.
Lots more.
Well, going how by movies cast their actresses, that character might be 120 years old. You never know.
See the comment on the hand? That's a sesquiquadrate. It's a forewarning to back off.
You got it right there. That is a sesquiquadrate. But it's not a warning. It's an aspect that might involve a little adversity, but that's it.
I handled a homicide once.
She handled a homicide once. One time.
Well, shit, I prefer someone who has properly conducted one investigation over some fucknugget who spent his long, illustrious career just making shit up. She tries to upstage Seagal by smelling out a bad guy nearby and saving a woman's life, but since she's not Seagal, she is simply chastised for this.
You okay? You didn't have to hurt him.
True, she could have just stood there and let him stab her to death.
Told you so.
She knows her job as a woman is to be meek and helpless. Fucking movie. And not only does she fail at staying out of the way and making everyone a sandwich, she also brings to light bad news about the arrest from the opening of the movie.
The witness refused to testify and the Supreme Court overturned it. They found the excessive force used by Detective King unconstitutional and the DNA evidence to be suspect.
That animal should be put to death.
Well, we're getting this information from her, so of course that means all this hate we have against the useless justice system and their stupid innocent until proven guilty crap can be directed right back at her. Because after all, we haven't been told to hate her enough this movie. Though the force couldn't have been too excessive, as he honestly looks a lot better for a man who days ago was beaten within an inch of his life and kicked out of a fourth-story window. Did he get an appeal? If that's how long it took him to commit a triple homicide after getting out, I'm curious as to exactly how many defense attorneys he killed while in custody. After this, Seagal runs into the federal bitch of investigations while satisfying the necrophiliacs in the audience with dead women who have nothing to do with the story. Strangely, she doesn't get to tell him the news, as instead his partner calls him up to relay the information.
Your boy Billy Joe just got out. Within 1 hour, he done killed 3 more people. How you like that?
Could we please stop picking on the only major female character in this movie, you misogynistic fucks? Seagal shows off some more by cracking the secret code that the serial killer was writing, but there is a problem.
I can read the words. I just don't know what he's saying.
To fix this, he heads to the public library because this movie takes place in an alternate dimension where Google doesn't exist.
Southern Death Threat.
What's that?
That line you wrote down, it's from their song. That's what you're looking for, right?
So all these esoteric clues were effectively the same thing as just leaving his driver's license at the crime scene. Brilliant. Based on the fact that they pretty much know exactly who it is now, they don't bring a squad or anything to surround the place. No. Seagal goes in alone to chase the man down solo. Hey, wasn't he supposed to have a partner in this movie? Where the fuck is he whenever shit goes down? Anyway, after he beats the shit out of half the audience and shoots up Lazarus in the car for a while... that was a lot easier than I thought it would be. The fuck? How the hell did that not touch him? They chase each other for a bit, with the editing jumping all over the place yet again. I'm seriously starting to wonder who the fuck thought this looked good. Especially here with the narrow corridors and consistent angles, the jump cuts are even more evident. Damn it, Seagal, when you leave your stunt double on set, this is what happens. Now that the stunt double is gone, Lazarus, played by Michael Filipowicz, doesn't kill Seagal, but instead has a chat.
All my life, I searched for a worthy adversary. Someone who understands me. Someone who appreciates my work. You're that one.
So that's how he survived the exploding car? The only villain that can withstand Seagal powers is one who has his own version of Seagal powers? But Seagal wasn't doing so bad as they start fighting yet again with him punching Lazarus in the face over and over and over again, but he scratches his hand and runs away.
I got you now.
Okay, now he literally just left his driver's license at the scene. You know, movie, you can give a few clues on occasion that are a little, I don't know, less obvious. Since Seagal didn't follow him home and left him enough time to secure that random bartender from earlier somehow while off-screen, he shows that his next trick is pulling the tiny bit of Seagal's skin out from under his nail and putting it under one of her nails.
Whereas once I was blind, now I can see.
Again, while recognizable, it's hardly scary or even relevant. Here, let's try this one. 2 Chronicles Chapter 15, verse 13. That whoever would not seek the Lord God of Israel should be put to death, whether small or great, whether man or woman. He's got plenty of time to do whatever he wants with the body, as Seagal decided instead to just go home so his wife can show up again and remind us all she's going to die.
Just wanted to check in with you first, see what you thought.
I think it's not a good sign for you when all the male victims are killed relatively quickly and off-screen before you know it, but the female deaths are dragged on and on. Oh, and let's not forget all the animosity towards the only major female role in this film. Well into the next day, we find the reason he's delayed all this is that he wanted DNA evidence before moving in. Miller is upset, though, that he gathered so much evidence on his own without going through proper channels.
That's not protocol.
I'm not too good at protocol.
Seagal, you can't be the badass super cop that does the right things while breaking all the rules if right now you fucked up your greatest chance to get the bad guy because you stopped to follow the rules while you were busy breaking the rules. Thus, he and Miller head out because it's not like Storm is his partner or anything. We watch Seagal walk into the room with at least 50 clues per square inch while Miller wanders around the rest of the property alone so everyone can laugh at how unprofessional and scared she is. Seagal, you wrote this. What the fuck do you have against women? You know what? Maybe I don't want to find out. After establishing that he will kill tonight, Seagal spends an entire montage going over the same obvious pieces of evidence until he manages the amazing discovery that, hey, that constellation that he had all over the place in his room just so happens to match up with the locations of all the murders, and there are 2 stars left to check off. Because he's Seagal, he already knows which area to stake out. Oh, thanks, I didn't know what to do without crazy-ass editing, what with the lack of an action scene for the last 10 minutes. But we finally see clearly that his twin brother was murdered in front of his eyes by a man who looks to be in his late 30s. So he was 10, so what? He still could have broke every bone in that man's body. No, wait, the child actor was not Seagal. Okay, never mind. But it's time for the other serial killer to show up again. Actually, he was in a scene earlier, too. He killed a woman. I didn't show it because, hey, it was completely unnecessary. Wife goes for the gun, but just because she's a skilled officer, that doesn't mean she's not a woman. Yep, knocked out in one slap. While she's being murdered, Lazarus shows up, so they open fire on one another, catching civilians in the crossfire. And then the fuck-nugget editing program 64-bit Seizure Edition is in full swing as Seagal beats the absolute living fuck out of Lazarus, whom evidently has had his Seagal powers completely removed in this scene. A good start, but it's hardly satisfying when he broke bones in every scene in Hard to Kill.
You just broke a rib. Ooh, there goes another one. That's right.
Or you could just break more bones on that one guy than you did that whole movie. Fuck. I guess it's entertaining too, as the two officers that come in and witness this don't stop him right away and instead sit and watch him break near every bone in Lazarus's body.
Oh, you need her. Oh, let me see what I can do about that.
Enough, Detective King. We got it.
Well, aside from his spine and skull, what the fuck is there left to break? But we don't hate the FBI enough yet, so because Seagal's DNA was found under one fingernail of one of the grifter's victims, she determines that he is in fact leading a second life as a serial killer.
It's the perfect murder. The killer investigates his own crime and pins it on a serial killer he's already investigated.
Actually, the perfect murder is killing someone undocumented and annihilating the body. No records, no evidence, no investigation. So Seagal returns home only to find his wife died while off screen.
You know, the sick thing is, you killed her to get to me.
No, Seagal, the sick thing is that you wrote her in this movie specifically to die and gave her hardly any screen time. We get another fight, and don't bother asking me how it goes because I'm sick of trying to decipher this quick-cut buffet this movie calls action editing. After he kills him, he manages to vanish before the police show up, leaving a note for his partner, as if he knew about the DNA under the nail, which was never brought up in his presence, but anyway, he left for no apparent reason.
I just got off the phone with your captain. He said Jacob booked Lazarus about 2 hours ago. He confessed to everything, including framing Jacob.
Awful nice of him. Who would have thought the best way to keep a man from holding a grudge is to make sure that he never walks again? Thus, we get our happy ending, with Jacob returning home to his wife and children and... Hold on a fucking second! When the fuck did he... How... Okay, so one of his Seagal powers is it's okay if his wife is killed because, hey, he's got another family on retainer just in case. Well, that was Kill Switch. Fuck! It's a step up from last week, but that's not too hard to do. What I mean is, while this movie might have had a plot and story that looked like they were at least consistent through the production, that does not mean the editing and premise were much better. Seagal plays Seagal. Well, Seagal with a different accent that obviously is not natural for him. This isn't something to get too upset about at the end of the day. It's almost a defining feature of his movies, and I'm sure there are people out there that prefer it that way. All I can really say there is at least the character he played wasn't so off the beaten path that his normal Seagal personification didn't work with it. The rest of the characters were passable at best. His partner was a partner in title only. They hardly ever were in the same room together. Either have a buddy cop movie or don't. Also, the FBI agent being an incompetent laughingstock might work for an action movie glorifying the beat cop, but the problem here is they just shove it in your faces so much, and there is nothing she can do right. Not to mention just how anti-woman this whole thing came off to me. Yes, there were male victims on occasion, but they were over and done with hardly any fanfare. The women were meticulously tortured. Yes, that's detestable, which is why I'd rather not have to watch it for 20% of this movie's running time. Even Spare Wife number 1 was taken out in one slap, despite being a trained police officer. Overall, these problems, coupled with the hardly tolerable editing on the action sequences, make this a very difficult movie to watch. It tries to have an intriguing murder mystery with tracking down the bad guy, but it's about as complicated as the Sunday horoscope, and the big bad guy loses his Seagal powers just in time for the climax. It's better than some, but still not particularly good, coming in at 2 random encounters out of 5. Yes, it's better than Out for a Kill, but not enough to boost it a whole star. Maybe if the action scenes were coherent, but they weren't. Thank you all for watching. I've been Decker Shado, and remember, they probably called him the Grifter because the Zodiac Killer was already taken.
right, and take a look around. I'm up to my ass in dead bodies.